Cars 2? The Good Dinosaur? Should we just stop trusting Pixar? Hey, I'm Jeremy. I'm not Morgan. Morgan is currently trying to escape from a garbage incinerator, so he put me in charge. So, you used to trust Pixar implicitly. A decade ago, the release of a Pixar movie was an event. Toy Story 2, Finding Nemo, The Incredibles. These movies had us talking for days and running back to the theaters for more. But lately, it seems like there's been a Cars 2 for every Up and a Good Dinosaur for every Inside Out. So this begs the question, can we still trust Pixar? Well, Pixar has announced its next 5 movies. So, harnessing the powers of science and Pixar's spirit animal, I'm going to guide you through the next 4 years of Pixar. Here we go. First on the list is Finding Dory, which comes out this June. And okay, I know Pixar doesn't make the best trailers, but the marketing around this film feels very nostalgia heavy. So far, Pixar hasn't given us any reason to think that this won't just be a rehash of Finding Nemo. But then again, Dory is definitely one of Pixar's most consistently surprising characters. So in the right hands, she could take us to uncharted territory. So whose hands is she in? Andrew Stanton's. And he's responsible for 2 of Pixar's best films, Finding Nemo and WALL-E. However, his most recent work, John Carter, was decidedly middle of the road. And while I guess this could be a sign of Stanton losing steam, I'm willing to bet that the switch to live action for John Carter was the real culprit there. So, Stanton's return to a world and medium he's comfortable with should be great here. Final verdict, 4 out of 5 Ratzenbergers. Next on the docket is Cars 3. And surprisingly, there is not a lot of info on this project out there, which comes out summer 2017. That's next summer, like a year from now. There hasn't even been a director announced, which, is there a way to interpret that as a good sign? Because it does not feel like a good sign. Another check in the con column is that it's a sequel to arguably the weakest of the Pixar bunch. I mean, I'm not even worried about offending any Cars 2 fans because are there any Cars 2 fans out there? Comment below if you are one, and if you're old enough to have a YouTube account, or you can just use your mommy's YouTube account. That works too. Anyway, I think the fact that this is Disney's second highest grossing franchise in terms of merchandise, just under Star Wars, has a lot more to do with the why of another Cars sequel than the artistic merits of the films. Final verdict, 1 out of 5 Ratzenbergers. Up next is Coco, releasing fall of 2017. This one is being directed by Lee Unkrich, whose last project was Toy Story 3. And Toy Story 3 was a blast. It made me cry, so great. However, this is Unkrich's first time working outside of someone else's sandbox. We've never seen him execute his own material before, and since Coco is the only project on this list with an original concept, it's definitely a risk. But a risk with a fun, intriguing family movie / mystery / ghost story premise. I'm optimistic. The one thing I'm a teensy bit nervous about is this rumor that Coco might be a musical, and maybe Andrew's right, and we're entering a new musical renaissance and everything's going to be just fine, but it just makes me nervous. It's something Pixar's never done before, so sue me, Andrew. I get nervous sometimes. Final verdict, 4.5 out of 5 Ratzenbergers. Fourth on the list is Toy Story 4, coming summer 2018. Back at the helm for this one is Mr. Pixar himself, John Lasseter. And while this is most likely a good thing, since Toy Story is his baby, it makes me a little nervous for one reason. Lasseter seems to have been spreading himself a little thin lately since taking on a larger role at Disney. And while his producerial work both at Pixar and at Disney have been tremendous, just compare Chicken Little to Zootopia, his more recent directing projects have fallen short. Should he just fully commit to the bigger producer role rather than trying to continue directing? I don't know. But we will all know with the release of Toy Story 4. Final verdict, 4 out of 5 Ratzenbergers. Last, but definitely not least, we have, drumroll please, Incredibles 2! Incredibles 2, guys! Slated to release in summer of 2019, which is so many years from now. Back again, writing and directing is Brad Bird, which is proof that there is a God and that he loves us very much. The only teensy-weensy tiny little cause for concern is that Bird's last movie was a little flat. it just wasn't a very good movie. But all of his other films have been perfect. So there's no reason to think that the only sequel on this list that really begged to be made anyway will be anything but a complete triumph. Final verdict, 5 out of 5 Ratzenbergers. So, time for a final tally. Using my Ratzencalcuburger, the next 4 years of Pixar come to an average rating of 3.7 out of 5 Ratzenbergers, which is okay, but if we choose to ignore the latest Cars installment, which is a skill any good Pixar fan needs to learn anyways, the score comes to 4.375 out of 5 Ratzenbergers, which is pretty darn close to perfect, if you ask me. So, science has proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that if you're feeling nervous about the future of Pixar, you don't need to anymore. It's time to put your faith back in Pixar, to infinity and beyond. Thanks for watching Treehouse Update.